Hello everybody, welcome back to Drawing A Clangen. This is episode 8. Before we get into the video and jump into the speed draw, we'll be talking about whatever. I did decide, out of all the cats that I have up through episode 12, that this one will be done off camera. Basically, I'm unsatisfied with how even the bust looks, and because it looks like a Torby, I want to make sure I actually have more time to work on it. So yeah, we will do that one off camera, and by we I mean me, and I'll either show it off after episode 8 or something. I don't know. There is a chance I just might put off working on that one.
They keep shooting, no problem. Bing, bang, boom.
But here's your previews of the cats. With that said, let's jump into episode 8. So, there hasn't really been much time since I recorded episode 7 and 8 of the B footage for Drawing A Clangen. And because of that, and I'm not letting it sit because I wanted to actually get a huge amount of backlog done on the second channel, because I know for a fact I'm going to be busy in July for the main channel, and I tend to put things off till it's like a month ahead or on the end of the month, and I'm technically speaking still needing to edit and upload the videos for June for DAC, aka episode 7, as we're recording this on the 11th of June when it goes up on the 15th. So this episode I gave some doodle notes because there was a thunderstorm going on, and I thought, you know what, why not give some notes as I go. I'm actually really glad I did Stumpy Spots first. She took me a half hour to get done, and the B footage is technically speaking an hour 44 and some odd seconds. So I'm glad I did that because, yeah, that would have been a bit ridiculous to get done. I will say this, the two cats I left notes of that you will see later in the video, the one that I marked for, to be clear, Claire's older sister, and then I just want this cat to be in Tor because I like their design. There is a chance I might need to make their template be fluffy, aka the ones with tufted ears. So if that happens, that happens. It's not the end of the world. Their design is going to be exactly the same, and I'm looking at this now, and I realized I made a few errors in there that I didn't notice during the recording, where, Coat Swirl, when I get to them in the video, I never did their face outside of their eyes and part of their nose. Part of the nose because it was actually, the selection was covering part of the nose for whatever reason. Gonna casually fix that IRL right now. But yeah, Coat Swirl, I like their design. I think it's pretty, and it's technically speaking a grayish off-white, and I think it would work perfectly fine to be a Claire relative. Because if I don't make it an older sister, it's either going to have to end up as a kit of Claire or one of her grandkids, and I kind of rather her be Claire's older sister so I can always write off a spin-off into Claire's siblings, because here's the thing, it is canon that Claire does have older siblings, but they have just the ones that didn't die early on or were stillborn dispersed. I'm probably going to change the lore in regards to her parents a bit to make them a bit older. I'm going to probably make it so Claire's parents' first litter was stillborn, second litter, part of the litter survived, and the other part was stillborn, and then the third litter was all of them survived being born, but not all of them survived kidhood enough to disperse. And then final litter is Claire and Bink and potentially siblings that didn't make it, but I'm probably just gonna make it just the two of them for my simply sake of sanity. This does mean I'm expanding, technically speaking, Claire's family, but I think that works out given that they're strays, and those that exist as strays are not guaranteed to show up in the main series. They're more likely to be a spin-off character, or a character that's just one-off, or it's barely there for the tree. As some characters are just designed as busts for family tree purposes. So there's no guarantee said character will get a name. I do know for a fact if I do end up recording episode 9 for B footage later tonight, IRL recording, that I will not be rushing the B footage, because my priority after this is get everything on the main channel dealt with and try to get it through August, if not prep all the way to September, because I know for a fact July is going to be busy, and September I'm adding Minecraft Dungeons to the list, and I don't know how smoothly adding Echoes of Minecraft is going to go, given that I'm busy in July, and the exact weekend that it comes out I'm going to be busy, and I'm trying to do some same day release. Well, it might be a day after, depending on what day actually is the release. Google says July 10th, and Steam says July 9th. And the only reason why I'm a bit sus about July 9th on Steam is because Google claims that's the Japanese release, and it's worldwide for the 10th. But, yeah. I can say for certain that I will be using several of these cats for Tales of Rhazie. I can't confirm if all the cats will be used for Tales of Rhazie. Part of it is I need to figure out if any of the cats are going to be used for a pre-existing design and just replace it, or if they're going to be one of the additional characters I'm adding for the third draft, or are they a background character so far removed that they might be in a spin-off kind of deal. Because how things are going to work for Tales of Rhazie is, ignoring the fact I'm maybe going to finish the second draft and make it very rough, I need to finish Corrupt Desires, I need to finish Jason's Escape, which actually is third draft canon, and I need to rewrite a section of it because it's a bit funky. I don't fully like how it flowed. It's also making me realize I kind of need to write down a timeline of events for Cliff Valley, because I don't have an exact timeline of events for Cliff Valley, and I kind of need to do that for purposes of, one, Dustin is leaving Cliff Valley at some point, because third draft change is the Cliff Valley is not attacked. Instead, Dustin leaves for the sake of his daughter Apple, among other things, which I probably won't get into until I actually get to write that bit. And I'm willing to write some one-shots in advance in regards to further deepen the fact of what led to that. Because there's lore and reasons that lead to the events of what happens. But in other news, I still am on the fence about potentially writing some Warrior fanfiction, or even rewriting some Warrior fanfiction. I kind of would prefer to do my own fictional clans, or write an alternate version of if I have to, I'll write an alternate version of the clans far removed from current day. But the issue is there's rumors based on the fact that the series title is labeled Changing Skies that the current arc of Warriors, as of this coming out, the clans are going to move again, which is kind of funny in retrospective, in the sense of we only had one full arc in the main territories for a series, and then the rest of the series, starting with Dawn, well, at the end of Dawn, I think it's Starlight, yeah, Starlight and onward, ignoring super editions, ebooks, and whatnot that are going back into the past, have been taking place in the current day clans at the lake. And we've had, I don't know how many arcs, ignoring Dawn of Clans also, because Dawn of Clans is its own thing. So, yeah, there might be moving territories, and if I was to write a warrior fanfiction, I'd probably either be writing an AU and expand the amount of characters horrifyingly, but make sure each cat gets a little bit of personality if I can, and maybe do it with someone else to help me write it. And as stated in the previous video, probably pull off some ideas from different fan fictions that I've read from Warriors. Like, maybe we have, because I don't like the medicine cat rule, maybe the clans have a rule for medicine cats having kits or something. I don't know. Like, I would probably make a revision of how things work. It probably would somehow end up a mix of what StarClan Studios has and Warriors has, and make it a colony. On the off chance I change it to be my own IP, because multiple series use the naming systems. Like, I read a horse series that had a naming system where the leaders had wing as their suffix and whatnot. Granted, it's been a while since I read the Guardian Herd series. It wasn't that bad of a series, it's just I kind of disliked the second series of it because of the humans. I kind of think that detracted from it. And sometimes I just realize I'm definitely outside the age range when my brain is like, oh yes, mature thoughts. But yeah. Probably if I did do an AU, it probably would make the clans a bit darker. Make the clans have more kits. And if people really have a problem with me adding more kits, I can heighten the mortality rate, because we don't really get any characters having stillborn kits except on rare exceptions. Like, the only ones I can think of that for stillborns are Yellowfing's daughters and Squirrelflight's daughter, Dandelion, and I forget what the other one is. I cannot remember. So, Squirrelflight / Squirrelstar. Her kids with Bramble Star, two of her daughters were stillborn. I can't remember. I think, if I recall correctly, one of Sparkpelt's, one of Sparkpelt's kids was stillborn. Like, we don't get it that often. And kit mortality rate? What is that? We rarely see kittens die. Like, we got most recently Rowan Kit from Dovewing, who died. Meanwhile, the only other kits I can remember immediately who died sometime after birth that are 100% canon and not fanfiction editions that are loosely based off Lost Kids canon is Dustbelt's kits with Ferncloud, where Birchfall's sisters died. Because of starvation. Due to the two legs, doing the two legs of destroying the forest to make a road. Kind of sucks to destroy an entire forest in Moorland and whatnot to build a road, but humans be dumb like that. Granted, yeah. So yeah, if I did do a Warriors fanfiction, granted at this point I probably would see if I can get a buddy to help me write it. One, to make sure we're getting stuff done, cause I can be pretty inconsistent with writing sometimes. And it would either be a made-up clan with its own lore, or it would be an AU. Or a super far in the future thing, which I don't want to deal because future books can retcon stuff. Personally speaking, I really think Warriors would benefit from a couple different things. One, doing a time skip, not a year time skip, a generational time skip, where most of the main cast is dead or is long dead. And we're dealing with characters who we may not even know who their ancestors are, except for rumors that they might be related to the legendary Firestar or whatnot. Because here's the issue currently. Like, I'll omit this. After Owen the Stars, who cats were related to strongly began to blur for me, and I feel like it also became very clearly blurred for the authors, especially when they started deciding, oh, we're gonna make some of the Facebook ones that one of the Aaron's put down, I think it was Vicky or something, and make those canon. Do you know how ancestral ThunderClan is right now? No wonder they got a Chimera in there. I'm surprised they don't have any cat born with defects. Huge defects. Because of how high the incest levels are in ThunderClan. Majority of the clan is related to Firestar or Greystripe. Or White Storm. Because apparently White Storm had multiple mates. And mind you, Firestar only had 2 daughters. And both of those daughters only had 1 litter. Squirrelflight had Elderheart and Sparkpelt, and Leafpool had Lionblaze, Jayfeather, and Hollyleaf. And Lionblaze has 2 litters. And then we can't forget Cloudtail, Firestar's nephew, had at least 2 litters, if I remember right, because he had Whitewing, who had Dovewing and Ivypool. Ivypool has her own kids with Fernsong, who I keep forgetting is related to her. And then he has younger kids, and I cannot remember who they are, other than one of them was named Snowbush. I'm pretty sure one of them is Snowbush. I could be wrong, mistaking who's related to who, but I do know, technically speaking, because Nightheart is golden, is Golden Paw's father. Him and Moonpaw are related. Not as heavily related they could be, but they are related. Basically, the issue with Moonpaw's genetics is her parents overlap twice. Her parents, either their parents or grandparents, were aunt and uncle or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it works, so I need to look at the film tree, and I'm not doing that this second. But yeah, technically speaking, they still connect. Also, we added Storm. Oh, what's his name? I can't remember. He's Squirrelflight's apprentice. Let me look it up again. I cannot remember his name. I'm looking it up. Even though I'm trying to refuse to do that. Because I know I can, for a fact, I can find it through Squirrel Star. I do know Brimblestar's dead. I don't care that he's dead. Like, he was okay-ish. In the first arc. Second arc, he's tolerable sometimes. When he became leader, it like he had a reset. It became worse. Okay. Squirrelflight, her apprentices. Where is it? Stormcloud. Stormcloud has no one for a mate. Its only kin is Frankie. He's unrelated to anybody. Does he get any romance? No. And because I'm already on the wiki, I might as well go look at Moonpaw. The attempt to look at her family tree. Granted, I could always look through my Discord to find it. Because the Warriors' family trees are terrible for how they're set up on the wiki. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can actually find that. Let me look through my own thing. Paw. Okay, here. Heck, I'll try to remember to save it to throw this on screen. Okay, so this is how we get to Moonpaw. Jake and Nutmeg have kids. Firestar and Sandstorm have Leaf Pool. Leaf Pool, Sun, Lion Blaze, mates with Cinderheart. Cinderheart has Sorrel Stripe and Fern Song. Sorrel Stripe, I forget who her mate is. Wait, no, Sorrel Stripe mates with Bayshine? Or has Bayshine? I think she has Bayshine. Granted, this, for whatever reason, the one I'm looking at does not show her mate. Meanwhile, Firestar's sister Princess has Cloudtail. Cloudtail has Whitewing. Whitewing has Ivy Pool. Fern Song is, technically speaking, like her second cousin, because Lion Blaze is Fern Song's father, and Fern Song is mates with Ivy Pool, whose mother is Lion Blaze's cousin. Thriftier and Bayshine have Moonpaw. I'll try to remember to freaking put this in the video on screen, because oh boy, ew, that kind of shows how bad it is. And this doesn't even show it connecting to Golden Paw, which it probably will, because Golden Paw is Squirrelflight's great grandson, if I'm recalling correctly. because I'm pretty sure Golden Paw's father is Nightheart. Let me actually double check. Let me grab Squirrel Star. I'm sorry. I am going on to this. Give me a minute. I'm gonna click on Spark Pelt, and then I'm gonna click on Nightheart to confirm. Okay, the other kit was Flicker Kit. That was the deceased kit from Spark Pelt. Okay, Nightheart son is Golden Paw. Golden Paw is Moonpaw's love interest. Those kits are so ancestral. Like, I know it's worse in humans, and technically speaking, cats seem to have a slight resistance, but with how tightly packed the clans are, and rarely let in outsiders, and the one outsider they brought in for ThunderClan, the head kids, also brought in his nephew, and for whatever reason, they're still intertwining. Because I could easily make a freaking family tree. Heck, I'm willing to do that. I just would need to double check who freaking Sorrel Stripe's mate is. Because I don't know if it's being weird. Like, is it Dunos? I think it's actually Dunos. Her mate is Dunos. Oh god. Dunos is Sorrel Stripe's mate. And they have Base Shine. Sorrel Stripe is Lion Blaze's daughter, and Dunos is Cloudtail's son from his second litter with Brightheart. You guys have to see why this is a problem. And I don't know if the authors just don't know or are forgetting, or they're thinking, oh yes, they're cats, it doesn't matter. They really need, like, heck, Waffle Pelt's now a full warrior. There needs to be romance in the cats who don't have mates and are unrelated to anybody. Which is just Waffle Pelt and Stormcloud. Cause Jesus, it is bad in ThunderClan. Like, I feel like it's bad in a lot of the clans, but since we don't deal with a lot of clans, we don't get to see it as badly as ThunderClan. But if you take for face value some of the ThunderClan ones from the Facebook posts, which I know for a fact the website states are real, it's Sweet Home Alabama, Incest Central, and it's terrible. We shouldn't want that at all. Because I don't think people realize how bad incest can be. Basically, you're putting the same traits within the same pool over and over. And while you might be trying to get the better traits, you're more and more likely, more closely they're related, to start picking up bad traits that can even be deadly. How to put this, because I don't know if you guys realize, the reason why the inbredness of the royals got them to cause so many children who were dying or having, deep birth defects is because of that. Also, I'm pretty sure it's proven that incest actually lowers the intelligence of a person. And my cat is staring at me wide-eyed. What the fuck are you talking about? She's very concerned. Cinnamon, you're fine. You can't have babies. Because you're beyond fixed. You've been fixed for years. Are you abandoning me? think she's abandoning me. Like, it's so bad. I'm like, this is why I want a time skip, but I also want. I'm very happy that the clans are allowed to intermingle a bit more, to swap clans, for especially for romance, because it is getting bad in ThunderClan. And I'm pretty sure the only other cat who joined ThunderClan, I cannot remember who it is off the top of my head, hasn't even had any kits. I could be wrong. I haven't actually read the first arc. I could be wrong, but not the first arc, the newest arc. Random other Warrior Cat notes. There's rumor that Reed Whisker was Curl Feather's father. I like the idea of that. I'm sorry, I do. Because then we have this whole thing like where Duskfur and because Duskfur doesn't have a mate listed. We could play it off as, oh, Duskfur and Reed Whisker had a fling, or Reed Whisker quickly chose to be an absentee father because he put his career over his wife and kids, and Curl Feather always resented for him for that. But she also has that ambition to become leader one day and thinks about how she can make things better for RiverClan, but also wants to make sure her children, including her daughter Frostpaw, or Frostdawn as she's later named, have a strong position within the clan and don't get that rejection. Like, narratively, it works nicely. It adds to the angst. I like it. Also, can I just say, when Flesha was fleeing with his little sister, how was he supposed to make a clan with her, or is he gonna do the ew? Because that would be ew. If he had done that with his sister. And don't ask me which one it is, because I cannot remember which cat it is. And the wiki just gives me their warrior names. But yeah, technically speaking, for a Star Wars clan, it kind of gave off the impression, by the end of it, they didn't really know who they actually wanted to be the actual River Clan leader, especially when we have Ice Star, what was her name? Icetail? I cannot remember. Why am I forgetting people's names? Yeah. Is it Icetail? No, Icewing. Brain. Especially when Icewing was a considered option, and it was really like, nah, she's not worthy to be River Clan leader because of her, with her agreeing with Tiger Star and not fully agreeing with Misty Star. Oh, I forgot. She was Brittle Whisker's mother. I forgot about that. Also, her deputy, Beetlenose. He's like, I'm not ready to be deputy. Becomes deputy under her. I feel like it's because River Clan has been in the background so long and the clan has shrunk over the years from not being really used, that they didn't really have any cats to choose from. And a lot of the clan in there is also heavily related. For what remains. Also, I feel like the authors made a joke in regards to Hairlight becoming another hair star. Here's what my thoughts are on the matter. Well, it'd be funny if we had two hair stars. I feel like StarClan would have been smart. Like, we have two hair stars. Your name is now Light Star. Give you your suffix for a name. Do a Clear Sky, because Clear Sky was not named Clear Star. He was named Sky Star. I feel like that would have been an easy fix. And we would have had a nice leader. And technically speaking, he would still would technically formally have the hair as part of his name. But no. This is also why my brain is just like, yeah, we need more cats in the clans, even if they're just background there for extensions to some degree. Because if someone wants to acknowledge it, a lot of the cats are related. Like, the clans need to not just swap cats from other clans. They need to take in outsiders to spread the gene pool. I'm sorry, it's true. They need to do that. Also, I kind of wish... I know this is terrible of me to say this, but I kind of wish Hawkfrost had children. And while that would guarantee that we have a descendant in Riverclan beyond Mothwing, because Mothwing's not going to have children, it would give more diversity to RiverClan for their bloodlines. Just saying. Because no one's related to Sasha, and no one should be related to Tiger Star outside of Mothwing herself. So that would have given... Sorry, I did not mean to just smack my mic. I don't know if I tapped it hard or not to make it sound, but still. Also, yeah. I don't know how long I'm gonna ramble on to this because... Also, I feel like the Aaron Hunters don't know how to write StarClan consistently. And I know it's based off Christianity. A very strict Christianity, where they're supposed to be all-knowing, but they're not all-knowing, and they can give mistakes. Because they don't technically have, or usually the ones who give the prophecies, so they're like an intermediate area, where they receive prophecies to give to the living. And whatnot. But in multiple cases, especially if you look at Omen of the Stars, they have done things where it's just a bit iffy. Like trying to be like, yeah, we're gonna be in our own clans within StarClan and not really talk to anybody. That'll totally help out the cats. Oh, Ashford did nothing wrong. He was just in love. Therefore, it's okay that he attempted to kill 3 cats and was the direct cause for one of Firestar's 9 lives, because he sent his apprentice Birchfall to go tell Firestar Blackstar was at the border and caused Firestar to get caught in a fox trap. That's totally okay. It's totally okay he tried to cut cats burned to death in fire. It's totally okay that he let Lion Blaze hurt Hollyleaf and wasn't going to stop it, because I don't know if anyone remembers that, but I do. It was Brackenfur who got Lion Blaze to stop hurting Hollyleaf. When they were apprentices training. All because he couldn't get over the fact that Squirrelflight was not that interested in him. Like, sure, I know Brandwood Star is not great for Squirrelflight. She deserves better. As far as I'm concerned, she definitely deserves better. But she doesn't need Ashford. Ashford potentially would have been worse. especially given if we go off of how he treated her during the Broken Code. That definitely would be worse than Bramble Star. But Leafpool and Squirrelflight lying about having the 3 who Leafpool's kits were prophesized to happen? Oh no, for shame. You must go to the Dark Forest for breaking the Messiah Code, even though Spotted Leaf said it was okay to follow your heart and have kittens. It's totally not a problem that we won't send you to the Dark Forest for. Like, I get that the technically speaking, when Ashfur was let into Zircon originally, and when Squirrel's Flight's Hope came out, were 2 very different timelines within years apart, and the trial thing had been things people had considered as a possibility for years. But when they made it real, they showed up the entirety pretty much of the lineup was cats who had broken the code themselves, and it just felt wrong. And then we get to the end of the Broken Code, and the Dark Forces can't get redeemed. There's no way they can earn redemption. Well, I guess that's why they killed off Snowtufts, because, oh boy, the fandom wanted him redeemed because of how much he helped out the protagonist. Because I think he deserved to be redeemed, given that he doesn't even remember the crime he was sent to the Dark Forest for. Even though I can consider that partially lazy writing in the sense of they didn't want to give him actual backstory. And that's not to speak of the fact that StarClan cats and Dark Forest cats, when they first were mentioned, can fade, and then they got rid of the fading, but they made permadeath real. I don't like how the water is permadeath. I kinda like the AU thought of it can send a cat to a future time, or even maybe potentially somewhere else. Also, here's my confliction thoughts also in regards to Bristlefrost and Rootspring. If you're gonna give us not once but twice basically the same scene of them under a tree with kits together, give me those kits. I don't care if some weird space-time contributing thing brought those kits into existence, but let them be real. Let Rootspring have a piece of Bristlefrost to help him heal. Basically, I don't really like the fact that she faded away into nothing. Also, the fact that cats who died in the Dark Forest, the way that was handled differently from Omen of the Stars and the Broken Code. If you look at Aunt Pal is it Beetlenose? Is there 2 Beetlenoses? Am I confusing cats? I might be confusing cats. Oh wait. My brain cannot remember cats. I'm sorry. There's too many. Beetlenose, or is it Beetle Whisker? I can't remember. It's Ice Star's son, because he died in the Dark Forest, and from my understanding, they had access to his corpse, but he died in the Dark Forest. And then you look at freaking Willowshine. Terrible. Like, I feel like for each arc they have a concept and they're just not fully connecting it. Also, I don't think the authors have access to the previous scripts from the previous author. Because I know the Aarons take turns writing the books. because it's kind of obvious when you get what was it? I don't remember which book it is. It's in the Omen of the Stars. It's when Lion Blaze killed Russet Fur, and Russet Fur took one of Firestar's 9 lives. The end scene of the book where that ended with the end scene of Lion Blaze had just killed Russet Fur, trying to get her to let go of Firestar. And then the next book, when we start immediately, right before Rowan Star becomes deputy, which I don't think they didn't even reveal in the Legions. They changed which cats were talking to who. At the very end. And sometimes it feels like stuff is not mentioned that happened in the previous book, but it'll be mentioned in the book that comes after. I will say this also in further rambles in regards to Warrior Cats. I do not like One Star. Like, he was okay in the first arc. He was okay until he became leader. Like, I understand it was him falling to the political pressures of the clans of after the fact, but he could have kept neutral with ThunderClan. Maybe not rely on them, but keep a tense neutral. Like, not outright hostile like he was and just randomly attacking for no reason. It kind of makes it look like they should have had Mud... Because if One Star was going to do that, they might have... Tall Star might as well just kept Mudclaw as deputy. And then we get to One Star's confession, which I never read. Where he's mates with his apprentice. Like, I can tolerate it for SkyClan in Firestar's quest with Sharpclaw and his mate. Why am I forgetting her name? What is Hawking's mother's name? Why am I forgetting? I cannot... There's so many cats. And my brain is more registered towards my own series, Tales of Rhazie. I am sorry. Let me quickly look up Hawkwing, because I have this up. Hawkwing, what's your mother's name, please? Because I cannot remember. It's Cherry something, right? Cherry Fall, right? No, Cherry Tail. Like, I can tolerate Cherry Tail being mentored by Sharpclaw, mostly because SkyClan was being brought back together, and I was under the impression there wasn't much of an age gap between the two. Like, maybe she was a bit young to be a quote-unquote warrior when they were found, when she came across the clan and became part of it. So I just assumed she was more so a bit younger than Sharpclaw. And yeah. Because they don't give us an age for her. Also, SkyClan had so little cats. Really, the only way you could avoid it is have Firestar, have Leafstar actually, formerly Leaf Dapple, train Cherry Tail instead. That would have been the only way to change that and make it a little bit less Also, I've always been under the impression Cherry Tail, I don't know why, I get this impression from her. Granted, it's been forever since I read any of the SkyClan material, that she won't take shit from Sharpclaw, is the impression I remembered from her. I could be 100% wrong. But that was the impression I kind of got. From her. So, it's one of the few cases where I'm like, It's not the greatest thing, but I can live with it. But when it comes to 1 star, there's definitely other options to give him for apprentice and have her be his mate. That's a bit meh, because then we know for a fact there's a strong age difference. Because literally, when I read Sky Clan's Destiny, I'm quite certain Cherry Tail was a young apprentice, not a young apprentice age. She was somewhere in like her juvenile stage, a bit too young to be a warrior, but definitely not too young to not know how to fend for herself. Kind of deal. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's also somehow incest in SkyClan. I don't know how that happened, given that they're mostly a bunch of cats that should be unrelated. I don't know how that's fucking happened. I am curious to see how the Leaf Star Hawkwing into Hawkstar goes. I'm very confused why it's being dragged on. I do know that is one of the things I'm excited to see is Leaf Star's point of view again. Even though I know for a fact there's only one book with it, so that means outside of a graphic novel, we only get 2 times POV for Leaf Star. Because Skyclan's Destiny was the other time. I will say this, sometimes it does feel like warriors are trying to not explain stuff. Like if we look at Tawny Pelt, we know nothing of how her time under Tiger Clan was. And what we know vaguely what led to her joining Tiger Clan. It's not really well remembered, but the fact of the matter is, I'm pretty sure, I haven't read Darkest Hour in forever, even though I used to reread that within a day. It was my jam back in the day. I'm pretty sure Tawny Pelt left ThunderClan the same day that Feathertail, Stormfur, and Misty Fur, aka Misty Star, got let out. So yeah. Given that we're almost at an hour, I'm probably gonna call it here for this episode of Drawing a Clangen. Mostly because this is roughly gonna be 2 times speed for the entirety of me drawing deck, because it's, as I said, an hour 44. And that's ignoring the intro bit. So that'll be fun for me to edit. And this gives me things to also edit before I go to bed. Because I do need to actually edit and upload those, preferably tonight. So with that said, I'll see you all in the next episode of Drawing Clangen, where I might continue Warrior Cat rambles. It might be something else. It just might be random rambles in general. Who knows? Maybe I will have taken suggestion. I might actually ask from the Clangen side of things if there's anything in particular they want me to ramble about. Because I know there's one person who comments consistently. I might message them and ask. Is ask for them to, because it'll be the topic for September. But with that said, I'll see you in the next episode of Deck. And if you want to see what comes out later this month, it should be, given that this one's for August, it should be D&D, aka NCCP, which unfortunately is just re-uploads for the time being. I don't know if I'm actually speeding that up or not. If I do, it might be a minor boost, it might not. I don't know. It won't happen until next year. I'm just going to keep it as is currently listed on the Excel sheet, just to not stress myself out or get confusion. Because this issue is on the back end. I need to figure out how I'm doing the number count, because it doesn't match the file name. And I only have up to a certain point edited. And while I won't reach that this year and potentially next year, I still probably should get ahead on that. So I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!